All right, you guys. Hey, we know. I know you were expecting me to hop on this morning, but nevertheless, I am here right now. And this is your girl, Shernita Wiggins-Wynder with Trendsetters to Trendsetters Magazine, T2T TV. And boy, do I have a treat for you guys tonight. I have with me a very phenomenal actor. And believe it or not, he's right in and from our back door. A lot of you, he's going to share his story with us tonight. And he is one of the panelists on the Cast Me If You Can with the Peachtree Village International Film Festival. And he's going to be sharing how to get cast in Hollywood. He's also going to share a little bit about how he got to be where he is. And some of you guys may have already seen him, but I get to tell you a little bit later where you might have seen him perform, not on television for acting, but I'll leave that blank right there. So, without further ado, will you help me welcome Mr. Jock McKissic? Jock, how are you
Hey,
doing?
I'm blessed. I'm blessed and honored to be here today. Thank you for having me.
Okay, well, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us this evening. Um, I'm just going to jump right into it, and I'm going to ask the first question I want to kind of come out to and say for those that don't know you,
hmm
maybe they're not followers yet, maybe they follow you and they just didn't know certain parts of you. Can you tell us who is Jock McKissick? In your own words, who is he?
So, Jock McKissic is a barrier breaker um, from Opelika, Alabama. And I say I'm a barrier
Yeah.
breaker because I've done things and I continue to do things that, people in my family or people from my area, may not be familiar with or have not done. And I always like to, accomplish things and let people from similar situations that I grew up in know they can be done. So yeah, that's who Jock McKissick is in a couple of sentences.
All right. Well, um, now for those that didn't know, Jock is also a former, you ready for this? Clemson Tiger.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
I got my
right.
purple on today.
Hey. So, you graduated in '08, right?
hmm Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, and football to
hmm
acting. We
hmm
know that's not odd. We know there are a lot of guys in sports that and women who have done sports and now end up on, as we say, the big screen.
Yeah.
How did you get there?
So I knew at
What's your
6.
journey?
I always tell people I knew I wanted to act before I knew I wanted to play sports. So um, I knew at age 6 that I wanted to act, and then Shaquille O'Neal became like my childhood idol. So initially, I wanted to go to the NBA first, and then retire and start a production company and start acting. When I got to high school, football kind of took over. They kind of encouraged me to come out and play, convinced me to play, and I found out I was pretty good at it. So I got about 27 scholarship offers and
Wow.
end up going to Clemson University. And once I got to college, I wanted to major in theater, but a lot of the theater stuff is in PM, so I couldn't do it because it would have conflicted with football, of course. So I ended up majoring in communications and sociology. I double majored.
Mhm.
And once I graduated, I played arena football for a couple of years. I got to work out with the Giants. They didn't sign me. And at that moment, I had peace with football. And I knew it was time for me to move on to my next dream, which was acting. So what I did was I just went online. I just researched it. We're living in the age of information. If you want to know something, you
Okay.
can find the answer. So I just
Definitely.
researched kind of what's the best city to start acting. And, of course, the LAs came up and the New Yorks. But Atlanta came up, and I seen like a bunch of different productions were starting to film there. And this was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And so after doing my research, I figured Atlanta was the best place to move and start, being that it was a young industry and it's Atlanta is a place that I've known since I've been visiting my whole life. That's very welcoming to Black people. So I was like, I think this is the best place for me to start. So I moved to Atlanta, and that's where I got my start.
Okay. Well, we know nothing happens by chance. So, and I was as I was reading over and preparing to interview you, is your story really paralleled my son as far as beginning, as far as having a passion for football and wanting to
Hmm.
take it to another level, but then the door shut. And I've always
Hmm.
told him that even though he was gifted in and really gifted in sports, that something from the sport still was a part of his journey. So he had
Absolutely.
utilized that to the next level. So having said that, what are some things that you took away from football that you now utilize
Hmm.
in your acting career?
Well, just the mere ability to just be able to maneuver and adapt to so many different things with sports
Right.
translates to acting, because you got to be able to adapt. And that, just hard work in general. I view football and I think about it, and I remember all of the physical hard work I had to do, all the abuse I put on my body, and then I look at acting and I'm like, oh man, this is a piece of cake. The worst thing that I'm dealing with in acting is no. Somebody telling me no, and I'm like, okay, I can deal with a no. I'll just maneuver like I had to
Right.
do. I'll adapt. So I would say the hard work is a big thing. Being adaptable and being coachable is a huge thing. A lot of people, that get into acting, they aren't coachable because they're not used to people telling them what to do.
Exactly.
So coming from sports, a coach pretty much is telling you what to do all the time. And if they tell you one thing to do and it doesn't work, they'll tell you something else.
They will.
So, that translates to a director. If they tell you to do it one way and then they come and tell you to do it another way, you pick it up on the fly, because that's just a part of your foundation as an athlete.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that you're from Opelika, Alabama.
Yeah. Opelika.
Okay. All right. So I know, and some people may not know this about you. You are a humanitarian or a
Mhm.
philanthropist. I mean, you giving back to your community. Can you tell those that are watching how you manage to take the gifts that God has given you and to turn around and pay it forward in your community?
Mhm. Well, for a while, I would say for as long as I can remember, I've always been a giver. I always tell this story. I remember being about 9 years old, and my grandmother gave me $20, and we all went out to eat to this place called Quincy's, which is no longer around, I don't think.
I remember
But
Quincy.
yeah, so it's a buffet spot, and we had this waiter who was doing a very good job. He was coming to check on us and stuff, and I just thought he was doing an awesome job at 9 years old. And so we got ready to leave, and we left, and we got in the car, and everybody asked me, my mom asked me, what you do with your money? Do you make sure you put it in your pocket? And I said, well, I left it on the table. And she was like, what? You left the whole $20? I said, yeah, I left it for the waiter. He was doing a good job. I just think he deserved a tip. And she was like, no, you can't leave the whole $20.
Oh,
And I was like, well, I just felt like he did a good job, Mama. That's it.
wow.
So that's just a part of my makeup, I think. And the
Right.
older I've gotten, I think we all were put on earth to give back. You know,
Exactly.
whatever it is we're doing, you were put here to give back in some manner. So wherever I am, I'm always trying to give back. So in college is when I really got heavy into the community service and really getting into the community. And I actually won the award twice. I think my sophomore and junior year for the college athlete with the most community service hours. And I
Wow.
would just volunteer and go to like the group home. I spent a lot of time there with the kids, reading, tutoring the kids, and just playing with them, just spending time with them. And I couldn't do anything monetarily then because I didn't have money,
Yeah.
but I could give
Right.
my time and I can give my
Exactly.
talents. And a lot of people feel if they don't have money that they can't give back, and that's the biggest misconception about philanthropy in general. And
Yes.
so once I started making money, I moved to Atlanta. I started booking some jobs. I had gigs. Then I was able to take it to another level and give to the homeless and do these different things monetarily. And now I'm currently a part of one of my business partners. He started a nonprofit called the Curtis House, and I'm on the board of that. And that's in our hometown in Opelika, Alabama. And it's
Okay.
basically a house in the neighborhood, and the house has been rebuilt. We have gardens. There's like
Wow.
a gazebo there where they do
Uh,
yoga. We teach the kids yoga. They exercise. We have different arts and crafts for them. Just different
right.
events. We give them like some of the vegetables and stuff out of the fruit out of the garden, so they have organic food, and just so they have a safe place to go in that community. And we're gonna take it to a bigger level. He kind of set the blueprint, and
Okay.
it's me and the other people on the board's job to come in and make it bigger and do it on a bigger level. So I'm always big about giving back, and I think the one thing that people should consider is not always monetarily. It's just
Exactly.
time or whatever you have to offer, which could be your knowledge. So yeah.
Yeah. I love the way you say that because I've been a big advocate of that myself. A lot of people, especially in the church, think that not paying tithes, they can't be blessed. And I remember being in a position where, like yourself, I couldn't financially pay tithes, and
Hmm.
God showed me how to tithe of my time and my gifts, and that's what I did. And I was blessed enough to get monetary means later on down the line. And I hear
Hmm.
that that's similar to your story. So hopefully somebody would grasp that concept tonight, that just because you may not have financial means to
Hmm.
tithe in the church, if you're assembling at your church or whatever it is, you can always tithe your time and your efforts and your gifts into the community. So you've heard it
Absolutely.
tonight. That definitely, there's that door has not shut for you. So moving on from this, and I think it's great that you're partnering with others for a common goal. Because it really does take a village to raise a child still, even though some of those you know um, mantras that we grew up with has seems to be dwindling out. If you look
Hmm.
at what's going on today, and I'm leading into my next question, in lieu of events, 2020 itself
Yeah.
has been an interesting ride. Okay.
100%. Yeah.
um, but if you have have faith and a strong relationship with Christ, you've been able to not only utilize this time to regroup, but to reshift your purpose to something else. So,
Hmm.
in saying that, with things that are going on right now, with you being as a black man, an educated black man who is, God is allowing you to be successful, but at the same time, you're seeing some of the things that are going on, dealing with the election process, dealing with um, the racial biases. How has that affected you and your craft? Just experiencing that.
Oh man, it's it's affected me a good bit. Well, in general, I would say, and just 20, speaking on 2020 and COVID and all of that, it forced everyone to sit down. You know,
Yeah.
especially me, the last 8.5 years since I started acting, I've been ripping and running like nonstop.
Yeah.
When I wasn't acting, I was, trying to make ends meet, up until the last year and a half where I can really focus on acting now. But I was
Exactly.
always going, going, doing something, flying here, flying there. So it's forced me to sit down and everybody else in the world to sit down. So I
Yeah.
was able to get some scripts done that I've been writing and didn't have time to finish. I was able to do a lot more reading, a lot more meditation, praying, just spending time with God. And also, because we all had time, we all had time. We've known this stuff has been going on for years because
Yeah.
we was living it, but we all had, when I say we all, that's saying the world, we all had time to look and see and observe the injustices that were going on around us. So
Exactly.
COVID allowed America to take a look in the mirror and see the things that have been going on nonstop to Black people for years. So that affects me as well because, since the time I was maybe 14 or 15 when I first started, getting to the age where I had a learner's permit to drive in, and my mom having to have those conversations with me like, hey, at the time I think I was maybe 6'3" or 6'4". You're a big Black young man and people fear you. You can't do some of the things that your peers can do, or white people can do. You have to be more careful than them. I remember having those talks with my mom, and now that I'm an adult and I see it more so because I live it, it's kind of become a part of my core, who I am. I'm always conscious of those things. I tell people I've been acting since I was 14 because when I was that age, my mom had that talk with me. I started to, overcompensate and make people feel comfortable. Like I
Yes.
would smile and speak first. And, I didn't really speak in a lower register when my voice started to change. I was speaking a higher register to make people feel comfortable. And I would
Mhm.
cower when I got on elevators to make people feel safe. And I would just do all these things to just basically dim my light to make other people feel comfortable because I feared for my life at certain
Right.
times. So
Right.
when I see a big person, Philando Castile or George Floyd, die at the hands of a racist, or cop
Mhm.
or whatever you want to call it. I think it's both. Um, that hits home with me because I always say, that could have been me, or that could have been my fellow Black man. So this year, having time and having nothing but time to sit there and watch, I
Yeah.
did more so physical work than I've done in the past. Like I was able to go out and protest, march, and do all this other stuff that I hadn't had the time to do in the past. So yeah, 2020 has affected me, you know, all the way around the board, I would say.
Okay. All right. Well, and I heard you say about you got a chance to actually get involved. We see across the board, if we look back, just what, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, with the way the NFL um, and other sports did not jump on board for taking the knee, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Now we're seeing others like yourself stepping forward saying, okay, you've watched me play on the field. You like me on the field. I need you to think about me when
Mm-hmm.
I'm not on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, and I heard you say how you had to do all of these things to deny your light from shining, when all it takes is just for a person to really just get to know who you are
Mm-hmm.
and see that you're not a threat, that you could be a best friend, you could be, someone to assist them. um, Seeing now how the sports are jumping on board with saying we need unity, which is something that I feel like should have happened at the beginning, and maybe we wouldn't have had so much controversy with Colin Kaepernick with his situation. And now we see that, that's all he was trying to say. He
Yeah.
wasn't saying that he didn't love his country. He wasn't
Mm-hmm.
saying that he didn't respect, um, the fallen soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, a lot of people don't even know the background from the fact of the way that he took his knee was because of a soldier, a veteran
Uh,
that suggested to him that,
not to
okay, if
sit.
you don't want,
Yeah.
yeah, don't sit, but at least this way you can honor, because this is what we do. We take a knee to our fallen soldiers, but yet we have so many, with the controversy. So I think it's important. I think you have an opportunity to share in your platform now that
Mm-hmm.
you are, people are following you. You're having an opportunity to act. You're having an opportunity to give back in your community, that you can share creatively, certain things that will help people to, maybe there's another young man that's 6'4", 6'5", that's doing the same thing right now because he's
Mm-hmm.
afraid. We saw a commercial where a little black boy looked like he was maybe about 6 years old, that when he saw a police cruiser, he immediately hid behind his parents' vehicle.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be. They should feel
Yeah, and
safe.
that brought tears to my eyes because I've been that little boy.
Yes,
I've done that.
yes.
I think the last time I did it, when I seen a cop, I probably was a senior in high school, and by that time I was already 6'7". So I seen a cop and just like kind of hid behind the wall, because you get to a point where you just want to avoid conflict by any means necessary.
Right. Do you see yourself writing some projects or participating on projects that will allow you to make a change, dealing with,
Oh, absolutely,
especially with your background and with what you see today?
absolutely. I read I've written two this year, two projects similar to what we're talking about, and I've helped somebody produce one. So yeah, definitely,
Okay.
it's
Well,
coming.
we are definitely going to be listening out for that. So I'm gonna make sure we stay in touch on that. So I'm gonna move forward. You One of the things you with the Peachtree Village International Film Festival, you are sitting on the panel as
Hmm.
one of the actors that's going to be assisting other up and coming actors, maybe prospective individuals that want to act, or maybe they've been struggling, and you're going to share with them how they can get cast in Hollywood. Now, I won't ask you to delve into that right now, but I will say, what are some things, if you can just touch on a few of those things that help you to get to where you are?
Just in general.
Yes, in general. I mean, with you've done a lot of things, and I'm going to
Hmm.
share links to so people can go onto your social media pages to see all of the things, because I don't like to just bullet point a lot of things that people do. I like people to actually go on there
Hmm.
so they can get in the habit of doing that. But what was the turnaround for you in Hollywood? How did you land the role in Queen of the South?
Oh, so Queen of the South, I did book that when I was living in LA. But what happened was I've been watching the show since the first episode, episode 101. And so I was a fan of the show, but I didn't think that it would ever be any black people on the show at that time. I was like, this it's not gonna be my show, but it's a good show, so I'm gonna watch it. But one of my friends, Cranston Johnson, he had auditioned for it, and he came over to the house, and I helped him take the audition. And I was like, this is for a black person, or is it just open ethnicity? And he was like, no, nah, I say African American. And I was
Wow.
like, where are they taping it at? And he was like, oh, it's filming in New Orleans now. And I was like, oh, it's
Wow.
filming in New Orleans, so I got a shot. And he was like, yeah, you got a shot. I'm sure they're gonna have more black people. So I was like, oh man. So I called my manager Gail, and I was like, hey, listen, Queen of the South is releasing breakdowns, and if you see anything remotely close to me, like, submit me. I don't care what it's for. I love the show. I just want to be a part. So
Okay.
her and my agent, they submitted me for one role. I auditioned. I didn't get it. They went with somebody a little older. And then another one came out, which was the role that I booked, Shamari James. And I auditioned for it, and I sent it in the same day I got it. Sat down, broke down the script, studied it. I taped it like an hour later, sent it in, and I just had a feeling. I was like, I think I'm gonna get it.
You just
I,
knew it.
I just I just think I'm gonna get it. And they were like, okay, all right, well, we'll check on it. So I found out about 2 or 3 days later that I got it. And originally the role was supposed to be like 1 or 2 scenes. But after they saw me do the first scene with Alemi Ballard, who plays Marcel Dumas, they were like, "You guys have great chemistry, so we wanna bring your character back." And I was like, "All right, cool, let's do it." So that's how the role of Shamari was born.
Okay. Well, at this point, I'm going to share a little clip
Okay.
of you. Okay.
Shamari James.
Marcel.
I knew I was getting them ATL boys. I didn't know I was getting the boss.
We go back, man. Man, you got beef this high? I'm here to put a period on that shit. So how you want this to go down?
Scorched earth. Her people, her spots. Mari, she don't see the sunrise.
Say less. Shamar.
A huge fan of this show. When I said I first started watching, I was binging. It was like, okay, all right, I watched the next episode of Mars. Like, no, let me watch one more.
Yeah,
So,
it's definitely one of those
how
shows.
was it
once you
working
start-
on the set of Queen of the South?
Oh man, it was great. It was a dream come true. You know, like I always wanted to be a part of the show because I was such
Hold
a
up,
fan
let me
of.
see. I got you muted. All right.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can't hear you. Okay, let's see what's going on.
Hello?
There you go.
All right, cool. You can hear me now?
Excuse me. Okay. Now I can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
How was it working
So
on
yeah,
the
I said
set of
it
Queen
was.
of the South?
Yeah, it was a dream come true. But like I said, I was always a fan of the show since the beginning. And then to get on the show and everyone be such, welcoming. Even Alicia Braga, the lead, Teresita. She was very welcoming. She told me she loved my audition and she couldn't wait to work with me. And at that point, I was like, well, we don't have no scenes together. But, little that I know, we would in the feature. So,
Wow.
yeah, it was great, man. You always hope that, the shows that you like as a fan of the work that they do, you get on and it would be a good experience. So, yeah, it was dope.
And which season was that? Can you tell everybody so they'll be watching out for it?
Yeah, it was season 4.
Okay.
Season 4 of
So,
Queen of the South. It's on Netflix.
yeah, it's streaming now on Netflix, y'all. If you don't have the app, get the Netflix app, okay?
Or get your cousin password or something.
Pooching them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So I'm going to move on. Are there any other big projects that you're working on right now?
Right now, I'm working on a show called I'm actually in New Orleans now. I'm working on a show called Your Honor, and it's a new series that's going to be on Showtime. It comes out December the 6th. Okay. And Bryan Cranston is the lead of that.
Oh wow! So we're definitely going to have to you're going to have to keep in touch so we can make sure when it premieres that everybody is watching and waiting. I do have Showtime as well.
Yeah, definitely.
The days of the cable is gone. We just stream it. We stream it.
Yeah. However you see it. As long as you see it.
Okay,
yeah,
all right.
I'm looking forward to that. I'll be in 9 out of the 10 episodes. So definitely looking forward to it.
Okay. Well, before we go, can you share your social media, how people can keep up with you real quick?
Mm-hmm. So you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram At J50 is J50 spelled out. So it's JAYFIFTY. And then Facebook, just Jock McKissic.
Okay. And would you leave us with some final words of wisdom for those that may have thought that their dreams were, the door shut on their dreams, and they feel like they don't have any other opportunities for something else? Maybe they're depressed about, what is my purpose? What do I do? Can you share some words of encouragement or inspiration with them about that?
Absolutely. So I'm a firm believer in whatever you will put here to do is instilled inside of you. You just got to tap into it. You got to really pay attention to those things that you love and the things that you're attracted to, because you may be put here to do something revolving around that. Also, it's never too late. I don't believe in too late. If you want to do a certain job and you feel you're too late to go, you're too old to go to college, false. You feel like you're too old to act, false. They need newborn babies. They need 100-year-olds. So, don't be discouraged by doors being closed, because, there are too many people that have had doors closed in their face, and they just went and bought some wood and built their own door. So you can't be discouraged by people telling you no, because one thing you have to be certain of is God's word doesn't come back null and void. He may tell you not right now, but he's not gonna tell you no when he promised you something. So the thing is, you gotta be aware of what you're asking for. I tell people all the time, because you're asking for something that's super big, like I want to be the best actor to ever live. You got to go through a bunch of trial and errors, and you got to jump through a bunch of loops and hoops and hurdles and all of that to get to that. So you can't feel like your journey is going to be easy when you're asking for something so grand, because to whom much is given, much is required, and that's on the front end. The person that said that didn't tell you that was on the front end as well. Like, you got to work hard to get there. Yeah. People think that when they hear that just means, oh, when I get it, much will be required of me. Nah, it's before you get it, much will be required of you.
You just hit on my foundation of scripture. Those that know me know I'm always telling, to whom much is, much more should be required. And it's in that pressing moment. That means you got to be press all the oil out before God can hand you what he really has for you. So I'm going to end this with this note. For those of you that are aspiring actors that desire to either write or direct, you can still get tickets at the Peachtree Village International Film Festival. If you go, you can go on the Facebook page, or you can go on their website, Peachtree Village International Film Festival. You can still purchase tickets. And if you happen to get the tickets for the panel, Cast Me If You Can, you'll get a chance to see Jock and other panelists to share with you how you can get cast in Hollywood. And know and understand that just because, you got a no today and a no tomorrow, that doesn't mean that no will not lead to the next ultimate yes that can open up every door. If you have the faith, if you believe. Jock, thank you again for such an amazing interview. Everything happens in its timing. Maybe this morning would have been a little rough. Tonight, we had a chance to really think on what we want to do and what we want to say and share with the people. And I'm glad that you shared, your time and shared your nuggets that help you, even in lieu of the things that are going on today. We know that God is allowing us to rest and reset for a greater purpose. And 2021 is going to find us doing so many amazing things. We are going to be keeping up with you, make sure that your publicists get back in touch with me so we can definitely follow you and I can share the information, and we can, who knows, come back again, maybe see a screening in 2021. Whatever it is, we are excited about where the journey that God is taking you. This is your girl, Shernita Wiggins-Wynder, with Trendsetters, the Trendsetters magazine, and T2T TV, and we are out, y'all. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for those that'll be watching. See you, Jock.